Welcome to my global tour exploring multidisciplinary innovative practices of organisations who promote endangered wildlife. I'm Gigi Pinwill and this is the video report for my Churchill Fellowship. For years, I've dedicated myself full-time to wildlife welfare education through multimodal art forms as founder and director of Done Art Productions. My expanded goal was to investigate how multidisciplinary art can effectively integrate with wildlife conservation and welfare communication, especially for lesser-known species, and to bring those insights back to Australian communities. Additional goals included learning from the work and processes of nature-based organisations and initiatives on how best to continue a sustainable business which combines wildlife education and art, most accurately communicate wildlife welfare knowledge while still providing engaging entertainment of the highest quality, increase community engagement and involvement, and ensure best practice for well-being of animals in our processes of access and promotion. Here are my cousin and me in the hire car, travelling from the Netherlands to Germany and arriving in Lübeck, Germany. We're outside Roncalli Circus. Such a great vibe with everyone excited to be about to be going in, and here we are inside, very excited for what felt like an incredibly iconic circus environment from the word go. Imagine stepping into a circus tent. The lights dim, the music swells, and suddenly an elephant appears before you. It trumpets, rears, maybe even a baby elephant joins its side. But these elephants are light as air, not made of flesh and bone, but of light, colour and imagination. They are holograms. In Lübeck, Germany, I visited Roncalli Circus, redefining what animal performance can be. After an hour of daring human acts and live music, the mood shifts. During the interval, a circular mesh rises above the ring. The stage becomes a canvas for light. Projections bloom from every direction, filling the tent with pre-recorded music and glowing imagery. In 2019, Roncalli made history by replacing live animals with holograms through an investment of €500,000, a visionary act of artistry and compassion. Their innovation inspired others, including France's Le Coq, which presents holograms of lions, elephants, and beluga whales accompanied by a live orchestra. Roncalli's holographic sequence lasts about 5 minutes in a 2-hour show with about 1 minute featuring animals. This feels intentional, a symbolic nod to the live creatures once central to the circus ring, while wisely for the happy vibe of the show, not dwelling too much on the darker side of animal welfare history. The remaining holograms include circus imagery, a Roncalli-branded train, a hot air balloon, a shimmering circus tent. Watching holographic horses gallop and elephants parade through beams of light, a reminder that circus can evolve ethically while preserving its timeless spirit of animal wonder. As my research continued, a question emerged. How can digital technology move us emotionally the way living animals once did? Because while holograms captivate the eye, what truly captures the heart is perhaps connection, interaction, humour, and the risk of live performance and story. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, human performers embody birds and monkeys through dazzling aerial choreography. Their timing, playfulness, and personality bring the animal world to life, showing how movement and empathy can create connection without needing real animals present. So, how might holographic animals evolve even further? Imagine digital creatures that play, react, or even misbehave. A lion that ignores a cue, or a whale that ripples to applause. When audiences sense that unpredictability, digital life begins to feel truly alive. Circus, with its deep history of animal inclusion, is uniquely placed to lead this next chapter. It can honour its past, embrace new technologies, and rekindle empathy through story, movement, and imagination. Because circus has always been about wonder, and wonder is the first step toward care. At the Eden Project, giant domes rise out of the earth like bubbles caught in the act of breathing. Inside, each biome tells a story. The Mediterranean dome glows with amaranth, chilies, and dry air, while the rainforest biome hums with humid heat and birdsong. The site hosts many activities, from Britain's fastest zip line to music and theatre, placing art inside these living worlds, an arts venue with plants for building blocks rather than brick or concrete. Now, from the lush humidity of Cornwall's biomes to the vast open skies of Montana, to Tippett Rise Art Centre, where art and landscape meet in an entirely different way, but the same spirit of connection endures. Tippett Rise is a working ranch spread across more than 12,000 acres of rolling Montana plains. now also an arts and nature park alive with sculptures, music, and performance. We're arriving here for performing later on. There's the tree I'll be under soon, into the green room, lush and beautiful. Oh, hello, hello performer there, and grand piano. Maybe this is why trees live so long. Me going over some lines and now waiting under my tree for the performance I'm about to do. That was me singing while I walked away from the performance, just complete, and now out exploring the sculptures and venues around Tippet Rise. This venue is home to 12 Steinway grand pianos, concert halls hidden in the hills, and monumental sculptures balancing the human and the elemental. The art intertwines with the land. It doesn't dominate or compete with it. In this sense of balance, the sculptures lean into the wind, the pianos breathe with the temperature, and everything feels like a choreography between art and landscape. The sculptures don't impose themselves on the land, they emerge from it. Their forms echo the soft lines of the hills, the shape of the clouds, the rhythm of the weather. Having just seen the bare-tooth portal sculpture, we now come to the inverted portal sculpture. Both are like picture frames for nature and assist us in focusing on wild views. Made from concrete, they complement natural rocks in the environment. This next venue is particularly popular with musical performances with 360 views and sculptural chairs. It's as if everything here is in quiet conversation. The materials, the sound, the light, the wildlife, the humans. Tippet Rise is a reminder that creativity doesn't always mean building something new. Sometimes it means revealing what's already present, letting art become a frame for seeing, hearing, and feeling the natural world differently. It's an act of attention, of being fully here with the white-tailed deer and native rabbits. The spaces invite listening to music, to theatre, but more to the environment itself. You start to notice small details, the hum of the insects, the scrape of wind through grass, the deep resonance of distant thunder. Every sound feels part of a larger composition. From this quiet expanse in Montana, my journey took me to another meeting of art and landscape, but this time to the edge of the sea. Both places remind us that performance isn't separate from the world around us, it's shaped by it. And on this stage, a fin might flick behind the actors. At the very tip of Cornwall, where cliffs plunge into the Atlantic, lies the Minack Theatre, an open-air amphitheatre carved by hand into granite and with a tropical garden. Looking out from the seating, you realize any show staged here is held in the company of tides, storms, and marine life. I note the wave-wash stories already performed here of The Little Mermaid, the ocean-crossing epic of Moby Dick, and the shipwrecked comedy of Twelfth Night. The Minack began as one woman's vision in the 1930s. Rowena Cade built the first terraces herself, hauling stone up from the beach with her bare hands. Could a new show about marine life, say the immigration of whales, the dance of seaweed, the chorus of reef life, find its perfect home here? I believe so, because the sea isn't just setting, it's partner. Now we come to the USA with Montana Insight Theatre. I was fully immersed into their pre and post show production schedule of Resounding Trees over 2 weeks. This is a local Indigenous performer, one of the many 5-minute segments in this live event. And here is director Gretchen welcoming the audience to our first show. That's me performing a monologue about trees from my Maori heritage perspective, which I developed specifically for this tree themed show. Music was included as well as visual art, with a professional painting completed by an actor during each session. Taking our bow at the end in Bozeman, Montana, and some lovely photos together after the show before moving on to our next site with multiple sessions at the Tippet Rise Arts Centre. We all performed outdoors with no mics, no speakers, no artificial light, and no recorded sound. It's the natural voice and acoustic instruments, song, dance, everything is natural. Even filming is discouraged and minimalistic if it happens at all. It keeps you very much within the way the natural world was for so many years until now, which is relaxing and really eye-opening for both performers and audience members. I realized it's also efficient for stage managers and producers not to be needing to source and care for many pieces of often heavy and expensive equipment. Having performed outdoors many times myself in the past, I know what a logistical challenge it can be to find a source of power and needing to, say, operate off a generator, which is noisy, or find battery-operated options. So this was liberating and inspiring to minimize some of the pressure we put on ourselves when we try to have all our technology outdoors. For example, if it rains, it's a health hazard if you have mics and so forth. But here with no mics, even if it did happen to rain, which it didn't, but if it had happened to rain, it wouldn't have been so disastrous. Here is me with the theatre company workshopping their next play, which will feature rocks. Also of note was the theatre I saw at the Eden Project with Scarlet Oak Theatre, where they also had a puppet in each of their acting shows, but more about that in the next puppet segment. My highlight of this fellowship trip was seeing Scarlet Oak Theatre perform their multiple 20-minute shows, each featuring a different solo animal puppet. One actor plays the role of wildlife presenter from a local sanctuary, and the other actor operates and voices the puppet. Each animal is given an engaging personality and detailed backstory, with many scientific fun facts incorporated with entertainment and audience interaction. These performances were the embodiment of what this trip is about: communicating about wildlife in ways that are memorable and creative and educational. I also appreciate the minimalistic set, costumes and props for effective touring options. Hello! Now,
Let me speak. 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 Goodbye.
So beautiful. What kind of raptor was this again?
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor. My goodness. And I'm not meant to touch the beak. I'm just patting the body and the tail. Oh, you're so beautiful.
In the live Nemo show at Disney World's Animal Kingdom theme park, we see small clownfish and starfish represented by large puppets, giving these species more impact even from the back seats. In Lübeck alone, a small German town, I saw many animal-themed puppet show posters. Puppets with visual art really are the popular global go-to for animal art. And still in Germany, Ron Carley's circus, with a bull puppet here who also brings great hilarity and mirth when from the derriere come out a mass of bubbles. The audience loved it. Whee! And there is even live music to go with the puppets. And now to the Eden Project in Cornwall, the UK, we have puppets operated mechanically, showing what happens in the world if we didn't have plants and all the things we wouldn't have. Belize Zoo in Central America is exclusively for rescued native animals, with a primary focus on rehabilitation, with offspring sometimes born into the zoo if parents couldn't be successfully rehabilitated. Hence, each animal here has a backstory of rescue. Lots of natural green in the zoo. Thanks to the zoo's outreach and educational programs, Belize's national animal, the tapir, is increasingly treated with national pride and protection. The zoo continues to receive new roadkill survivors, though. I was informed it's illegal to hit and run in Belize without reporting injured tapir. Meet Tapir Fuego, rescued from fire, and Navidad brought to the zoo at Christmas after being kept as an illegal pet. So you are the Mexican hairy dwarf porcupine. And colourful king vultures like King John Crow's story. Unlike you, I was born in a zoo. So many animal stories here, including in the bookstore with original stories written by the zoo's founder, Sharon Matola, a documentary maker asked to euthanize animals post-production, who instead founded Belize Zoo to care for them in their natural habitat and climate. At the nature resort where I stayed, every day in the back garden, I'd see a agouti, a testament to not clearing neighbouring land. And right next door is the baboon sanctuary, offering tours to see wild monkeys.
Oh my gosh.
See where little baby sit? See another baby come right here looking at you. Come like this and make your picture. Don't be afraid.
Also at the baboon sanctuary is a collection of shells, including an armadillo shell and featuring information about inspiring female scientists. Chipmunks! That's what we thought. But they are actually golden-mantled ground squirrels, found in Yellowstone and are larger without the facial stripes of chipmunks. Always so much to learn about less-known species. The Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center of West Yellowstone is also home to many ground squirrels who live in underground tunnels like prairie dogs. I had no idea until this day that not all squirrels live in trees. Little animals are so easily overlooked.
It was a problem. It was a problem. And in order to fix the problem, we brought in the owls. And then the owls, they took care of it. We've not seen like one, like a single rat.
So here's the important thing. That whole rat problem is behind us now.
Presented at the Museum of the Rockies in Montana, The Bird and the Tree is a 20-minute documentary combining animation and live-action film.
Two kind of depend on each other, and the bird might be the savior.
With a remarkable bird, the Clark's nutcracker.
The relationship between whitebark and nutcrackers is ancient. These high elevation ecosystems came about because of the coevolution between the bird and the tree.
Despite that promising history, whitebark pines are at a unique disadvantage when it comes to seed dispersal. Their cones never open, and their seeds, unlike those of many other species, are wingless and can't be carried on the wind. If left on its own, a single whitebark pine tree would never disperse more than a few feet from where it stands. This is where the Clark's nutcracker comes in. The seeds may not have wings, but the birds do, and they'll often fly them miles from the parent tree, where they're buried in the ground to be stored and eaten later, or left to grow into trees that eventually grow into forests. The bird and the tree are an ideal match for each other. It's a relationship that's lasted over eons, but it's only beginning to be understood.
This short film follows the search for a local bird, its discovery, and the story of its survival. Featuring aerial perspectives that simulate a bird's flight, the film demonstrates a refined approach to creative wildlife storytelling, designed to engage mature viewers through both artistry and realism. So who is all this research for? Well, it's for anyone interested in wildlife, art, nature education, or innovative communication. It's especially for creatives and communicators' inspiration and know-how, and for wildlife professionals on scope of communication and just how we can add value through cross-platform collaborations. Some of my key observations and experiences are from the inspiring Scarlet Oak Theatre, where they combined actors, puppets, wildlife knowledge, and creative excellence. Also, Disney's ethically trained live animals were funny, impactful, and educational. More key observations and experiences are that venues and organizations can become involved with local wildlife content, helping to ensure it's created, and once it is created, that it gets to be put on and seen by others in the community. This trip also highlighted to me the need for creative communication with well-researched wildlife information, the huge potential here, and that story is king for audience engagement. Plus, representing little species as larger than life, literally, in creative work helps our human eyes to comprehend and our human hearts to empathize. And when wildlife can't safely be present at human events, puppets offer popular tactile pats and photo opportunities. So how, oh how, to apply all of this in Australia? My key 3 points are adapting mining and farming sites into eco-art centres for tourism and education, commissioning and creating more wildlife art, especially in human-centric art forms like theatre and film, and with adult appeal, not mostly for young audiences. We can also train artists more specifically in animal art, like global Indigenous nations do. For example, dedicated university subjects. So what happens next? How to create impact? Happily, before I'd been back in Australia for a month, I'd already presented at 2 conferences, the Australian Circus Summit and a Global Environmental Justice Conference, with much more ahead, like sharing through Done Art Productions, global symposiums, TEDx, a handbook, workshops, and media interviews. There'll be more sharing this research by developing new art through various creative fellowships. My recommendations for wildlife experts are engage with creative and communication professionals to produce story-driven positive content. My recommendation for creatives are to become involved in wildlife-themed art because it's chronically underrepresented in most art forms, because wildlife can be the best muse, and because non-human themes help us uniquely understand humanity and assist our world. Roadkill recommendations. From Montana to Florida and Belize, this topic kept coming up. I was given books on historical statistics. There were conversations with taxi drivers about numerous armadillo roadkills on Orlando roads and legal consequences for roadkills in Belize. Solutions could be increasing training on how to care for injured animals after vehicle collisions, and incentives and/or consequences to encourage checking animals injured on our roads. Please feel free to reach out to me on my website, gigipinwill.com, at my email address, or through the Churchill Trust. Thank you.